thank you for giving us the opportunity to come here today, dear Lord, to serve the citizens of Madison County. Dear Lord, I pray that you'll be with each and every one that's here tonight, dear Lord. I pray, dear Lord, you'll be with us, the decisions we make tonight, dear Lord, will be to the benefit of the county. Watch over us and guide us in thy most precious name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The purpose of this meeting is to discuss and possibly act upon a request for the county to grant an option to purchase approximately 5 acres of property in the county industrial park on Del Leslie Drive. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Crawford Powell to present.
Thank you, Commissioners. We appreciate you taking the time to, for this special meeting, and we hope that we can present a reason that you'll find is worthy of having a special meeting and the timeframes involved in it. Tonight we have two gentlemen with us, Mr. Brandon Richards and Mr. Chris Moulton, that are proposing a medical marijuana treatment center facility here in Madison. They'll
You look
give
like
you
your
the
daddy.
details, the operational, everything
Sir?
involved with the
Ain't your
center,
daddy
what's
Glenn?
involved with it.
My father. Your father's
But
Glenn.
on
You
the
look more
rough
like
shot,
him than you
they're
do.
looking at a minimum of 20,000 to
You went to
40,000
Bowles.
square feet to start with, on approximately 5 acres out in the industrial park that you mentioned. They have not asked for any incentives, they just want to do a straight purchase on the property with no tax abatements or anything else involved in that from the county, just a straight purchase. This is the industrial park that we discussed out on the property on Del Leslie, and it would be the northwest corner of the site, so it would be back up into this area over here, and I'm not sure if you guys have it on the screen. I think you have it in your handouts where it's located. For the audience, it would be in this northwest corner over here is where we're initially looking at, with access coming in from Del Leslie over there. At this time, what I'd like to do is, also I did want to mention too, in addition to Brandon and Chris, Corey Humphreys is here with the engineering firm that's representing them. And so I would like to open the floor up to them if you're okay with that. They'll tell you about their backgrounds. They'll tell you how they came through this process, what's required in this process, and the hurdles that they have to access and do to meet the state of Florida's requirements for this type of operation. So, Mr. Chairman, if you're okay, gentlemen.
Supposed to. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time this evening, and thank you for having us. Thank you all as well.
Sure.
Guys, thank you again for your time tonight. We truly appreciate the time here. Some of the points that we're going to discuss tonight for this potential project are going to be have a lot to do with economic development. It's got a lot to do with jobs.
Speak up a little bit, because my.
It's got a lot to do with economic development, a lot to do with jobs, well-paying jobs, jobs with benefits. The nature of the project and how it's highly regulated and secure, and let's speak to the timing as well. So those are some of the key points that we're going to hit on this evening. With that, I think we're just going to open up the brand. I'm going to take turns just talking through the project and those points specifically.
Great. So this is licensed through the Florida Department of Health, super highly regulated. Everybody involved is background checked, including ourselves. All the employees will be background checked as well. This isn't exactly what you would think. This isn't, there's no visible marijuana when this is grown. It's grown indoors. It's in a building that looks like any other steel building. There's 2 security fences around it. Nobody can just walk up. There has to be a minimum state statute, 2 security guards on premise at all times. Nobody is walking around with product, and it's actually a drug-free and alcohol-free workforce, and that's required from the state of Florida for us to give random screenings. So this isn't people walking around smoking or anything like that. But we wanted to talk a lot about the jobs. You know, at year 3, we see 30 to 40 full-time jobs, you know, paying $40,000 a year. So there's a big economic development factor in this for the county. And we're committing in the county as well with a large capital expenditure. So we really love your support there. Some things that we brought up were waste. With the waste, there isn't anything out there that somebody could want to gain from it. It will take it and we'll grind it with non-cannabis waste, and it'll just be taken to a dump like anything else. There's nothing in there that anybody could, you know, take and use or anything like that in a negative matter. And we're not dispensing here. This is strictly just the processing and distributing out of this area, since it's such a great centrally located area on I-10 right there, and 75 nearby. That makes a lot of sense for us. Do we happen to have those drawings?
The commission has the site plans.
Okay, great. And it'll be a good looking building from the outside, landscape wise, but a nondescript warehouse. So nothing, there are activated charcoal filters, so any air that is going out, there's no smell or anything like that. That's a state regulation as well. So this is super highly regulated from the state of Florida. Every step along the way, everybody involved, everything has to be vetted and approved by them, including with the money behind us, everything like that. You just want to add anything?
You know, one of the things that we really appreciate is how, you know, flexible you guys have been regarding time, especially because this procurement is a time-intensive thing, and we're under deadlines from the state, and we expect this application process to open up very soon. So regarding the timing of the meeting, we truly appreciate you guys calling the special one to help us just, you know, move forward through this process. You know, we've looked at properties in several different counties. In our experience, we've truly enjoyed working with people in Madison so far, and this is our preferred destination for our business.
We'd love to take any questions from y'all or anybody for that matter.
What does a treatment facility mean?
MMT is a medical marijuana treatment center. That is the license from the state of Florida, and that's their classification for it. That means we will grow and process here, and we will own dispensaries in other locations that our products will be sold through.
So it's not an actual treatment facility?
No, sir. So this is not open for the public at all. This is just for the business enterprise, and the products will be leaving in armored vehicles from the facility.
Are you doing all the wastewater and all that development, or is that already in place?
Sewer and water is there already at the site that we are looking at. So we're able to just to tap into that, the city water. That's all another hand.
Is this classified an agriculture business?
It is manufacturing.
So manufacturing, even though it's a growing of plants through hydroponics, is not considered agriculture under United States Agriculture Division?
I believe it could be a little bit of both when you look at it that way, but it also is manufacturing as well, and not warehouse.
So the state classifies this program under the Department of Health. It's a pharmaceutical. It's not so currently in the state of Florida, it's not even legal to sell marijuana as a flower, only as an oil, or I'm going to say it incorrectly, tincture.
Tincture, sublingual drops. This is not a product that is rolled up and smoked like one would classically think.
It's truly a medicine.
It is
Well,
laboratory
the
grade.
reason why I ask that is I'm concerned about the tax base, you know, how you get classified. Once you're in the business park, would you be classified as a manufacturing, organization, or would you be classified as an agriculture, hydroponics, business, that would affect the tax base for for Madison County?
To my understanding, it would be manufacturing, but I would probably have to defer to somebody else for that one.
Well, council, do we have to pay ad valorem taxes, right?
They would. Now, the ultimate decision as to whether or not, and I think what the lady's referring to is green belt exemption for agricultural uses. That's a decision made by the property appraiser, not the Board of County Commissioners. And so that would have to be directed to her. But I mean, in my experience, yeah, if you're not growing stuff on the ground, it usually doesn't get a green belt exemption. But again, that's not this one.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Expand, I mean, part of the problem here is people think something's being pulled over on. So if you would explain the urgency of the date that, of course, the way I understand it's gonna be like a lot or a point system. And so then, but when they announce it, you gotta, it'll close real quick.
Correct.
The application will appear to be open and then it'll close real quick. And so if you could expand on that as to the dates that are involved, and that might help some people understand why this is happening, quick. So.
Yes, thank you for that. So this process will open up in a matter of weeks, actually, for the applications to be submitted to the state of Florida. We actually have to include this in our application, and with the just limited time frame here right now, that's what brought up this being sped up so fast. And we truly appreciate the commission making time for us and putting us on a special meeting. Was that detailed enough? As far as the license goes, once that opens up, it'll be open for a couple weeks, and then the department actually has 30 days to decide the winners and losers. So we're looking at roughly 2 months out right now from having this kind of to begin.
Yeah, make sure you got all your eggs in your nest.
Correct, yes, there's a whole list of things that we've run down that we've had to gather from all over, and this is a major piece of it.
That's right, the application is extensive. It's a lot of information, a lot of work, and so this is one very important piece of that process. And so we, to secure this is necessary for application, and so we'd like to get that done sooner than later. And again, we originally expected that window to open up kind of early mid-July. It looks like that could be potentially delayed a hair, but we didn't even know that 2 days ago. So it's kind of a moving target in terms of where we need, of the exact time we need to be prepared.
Gentleman in the back.
Yeah,
Yes.
when it's up and going, how much do y'all predict you're gonna produce there when it's up to full scale? And how is it gonna be shipped?
How will it be shelved? As in the
Shipped.
Shipped. So to cover the shipping first, the shipping will be done in an armored vehicle, state mandated that there always has to be control of the product from seed to final sale. Somebody is responsible for it. So each armored vehicle that comes into the facility will go through a bay door and go into the facility, so nothing's done out in the open air. It'll be loaded in, everything is barcoded, scanned, and there's a manifest that goes with the shipment, with 2 people in the vehicle at all times, and then it'll go out to our dispensaries. And as far as a amount of product that we plan on producing, that kind of dictates behind the patient count. I couldn't give you an exact number on that right now, but as the patient count grows, we will ramp up production.
Why don't you talk about the RFID tags and the security from the state fund?
Sure. So there's a tracking system from the state that tracks us from seed to final sale. That the state actually designates and has a contract with this company. They're still picking that company right now, to my knowledge. So this is always being looked at. And we're always open to state officials coming in at any given moment and reviewing our entire inventory and everything like that. So it is a highly regulated process.
And the state even requires 24-hour video surveillance as well at the facility, on top of the 24-hour security. And there will be a fence around the property, potentially double fence with barbed wire. So, and these are all things that are required by state law.
Correct. Yes, please.
Would you tell us a little bit about your company, how old it is, the big picture, the detailed picture, and some of your experience, how you got into this and how much you know about it?
Great, so thank you. So when it comes to the actual growing side, we've partnered with a group out of Colorado who has the industry knowledge. They've done this in multiple states. They've won roughly 100 awards all over the US for their oils and medicinal cannabis, things like that. My personal background is real estate. I worked in Dallas for a few years prior to this in mortgage banking. And we started this company about a year ago. Our company is Synergy Farms, is the company. And we've learned a lot about this business. Prior to this, we were not in the cannabis space or the medical space for that matter. I was in real estate. And then Chris and I saw an opportunity on this, and we jumped all the way in. We've been putting the pieces together over the last year, and have really learned a lot about it, though.
That's right, that's right. My background is investment banking. I've lived and worked all over, but I'm from Jacksonville, from a little town outside of Jacksonville. I live in Jacksonville currently, recently got married and moved back home. So that's my background. Like Brenda said, we started the company a year ago. Well, back to the operator, that's what I wanted to circle back to. The operator, again, highly medical, and so as we go through this process, the state's gonna judge our application. And so our operator looks highly medical. They've been successful in multiple states. As Brandon said, they've won awards. And recently they won in the state of New York, which is another state that approaches us to be very regulated, very controlled, very conservative approach to the program. And so we think our operator's great.
Who is this partner operator?
They're called The Clinic out of Denver, Colorado.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
What's the qualifications for these jobs that you're proposing?
That's a good question. It's not necessarily a college degree or anything like that.
Yes, pass a drug test.
Yes, correct, and a state background check as well. Yes.
What's your anticipated employee count, and is the 40,000 a starting salary or a cap?
I would say that would be an average. I think there would be some that are much higher. I would actually say that would probably be a floor for a salary cap. We believe in investing in communities, and really, you get what you pay for in employees, and we fully know that. We don't want turnover. We don't want to have to train again. We want to be able to operate successfully with the people from day one.
So
yes.
what Madison County is going to get out of this is a handful of jobs, right? But the profit out of all this, they're not going to enter into no profit. It's just the jobs that we're getting. And we're getting something in here just like we won the prisons too. We got a prison in here. And I guess we'd just like to get something in here. We've got a fine county, pretty county. And here we're taking stuff that's illegal, and I'm after getting some jobs in here, and it wouldn't hurt if we got some of the profit out of the stuff too. There's a lot of money in this stuff you're talking about. Somebody's gonna make a lot of money. And I'd like to see them have to pay enough tax so we can get some tax in the county, because this county's starving right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's why we think the jobs are a great benefit to the people of Madison.
The jobs, yes, we completely agree with what you said, sir. As far as profit sharing goes, I actually don't think that is actually legal under the state guidelines for these businesses to profit share with counties. But as far as tax revenue and infrastructure that will be built here, will be a substantial amount, I can imagine. Or I know for the infrastructure side at least. Yes, please.
I just had a quick question. We have a local person here in this county. It's a lifelong resident that's doing exactly what you guys are doing.
Okay.
They looked at Madison County and decided that was not a good fit for them. You guys currently own, or in your family have, a building on 129 in Jasper right next to the interstate. It was known as the High Life Fronton and the poker room and yada yada. That was built as a secure building because of the amount of monies it handles, money rooms, etc. So why are you here in Madison County when you have that facility already available?
Great question. So Hamilton has a moratorium on this. We could have sat down with the county commission, but through Tori, she introduced us to Mr. Crawford and Brian, excuse me, sorry. And, you know, they've been Madison's been very receptive so far to us, and, we like the relationship here, we like the location as well, halfway between Tallahassee and, Jacksonville, and 75 right there as well. And the county had this kind of already plotted, for growth.
But is that location in Jasper, I believe, is in the city limits, am I correct? That y'all had that brought, annexed into the city, so y'all could reap some benefits from that, from being in the city limits itself?
I believe for the sewer and water was the benefit there.
Okay.
Again, forgive me for not having enough information.
That's fine, I was just,
Like Brendan said, there's a current moratorium in that county, so they're not accepting these jobs.
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry. Again, what was your projected employment numbers?
At year 3, we will be at 40 is our projection here locally. So this will actually be the headquarters too. So a lot of the day-to-day operations and things like that. So it'll be a large variety of jobs, not just agricultural, but it will be communications, marketing, a lot of different variety. Logistics, correct. Yes, sir.
Clarify us for us what the end product's gonna be, or as far as what you're really harvesting. I think that might clarify some concerns.
Maybe you want to start at the beginning of the same way that you told us about from beginning to end, so that they know.
So this will start from seed to final sale is the big scope of this here. So we'll start with clones, very small. We'll grow them into the mature plant indoors through there's different stages in the plant's life cycle that we're replicating indoors. And then it actually is flash frozen, the buds themselves, and then it is through CO2 extraction, these large tanks, takes out all of the THC, the CBD, all the different cannabinoids, and from there that's processed into oil, and from that oil we can go into vape cartridges, or we can go into sublingual drops under the tongue, or and eventually like oil tablets that patients can take, as well as topicals as well, creams and things like that. Is that detailed enough for everybody?
And then what's left?
Oh, and then from the waste there's almost nothing left in the finished, the byproduct, excuse me. That is then ground with the waste and then just hauled off to the dump like everything else. Please.
In the waste product, I'm with the city of Madison. I deal with the water and the wastewater. And I also know in this particular site here, there is no wastewater in this site. There is no drinking water unless you come off Dale Leslie and run a line up in there. Is that what you're proposing to do?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
And your waste stream, what's gonna be discharged into your waste stream?
As far as the water goes, there really isn't a whole lot of water waste from that. The plant's life cycle actually uses all of the water that we give it and the nutrients.
But you was talking about it was flash froze and then extracts and.
Correct, from that, so there will be a little bit of organic matter left that will be ground up with normal trash and disposed of, but there's nothing left in that product that one could dig through and find.
Is there any kind of big solids or anything that would be discharged into the waste stream?
No.
We have a lot of trouble with our treatment plant now here in Madison, and it's costing us a bundle right now.
Yeah.
And we got to look at everything that's gonna be put through it. Your waste will be discharged over onto the Lee city side, but it all comes to the city of Madison in the end.
Correct. Yes, the site in Lee, yes, is the one that we've been told that the waste would be hauled to. But as far as the waste, I mean, there's nothing large especially that would be going in there, and it's actually all going through a wood chipper, anything that we had to grind everything up before it actually goes into the dumpster.
Is there gonna be some kind of a lift station put in to get it into the system that's already there, or do you know anything about that?
I would have to defer to
What
there,
did you
but
ask?
a lift station?
Yes.
Is there one if we tap into the city water there? I'm not sure.
We're not that far into the design at this point. I mean, whatever is needed to make the connection to Dale Leslie and to get the potable water and the sewer connections and to pump it back, whatever is needed when we make it to an actual design plan, more than just the conceptual will be done. But it's a
The
lift
closest
station.
lift station for the sewer is there, and that bus line, you got a lift station there that you would have. to
Right
use.
across the road, or fairly close to,
Yes,
right
ma'am.
across Taylor.
And then the water, you know, you got that big truck line that runs down Dallas, that could be tapped off of.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, well, I guess to clarify, you're not gonna be disposing of any of the cannabinoid waste in the sewer system?
No.
That's just regular
That'll
waste
I was a little
from
confused with the
That'll all
employees.
go to the landfill, correct?
Correct, well, and at the end of that life cycle too, there's almost, none left. So most of it been processed, so we're fine.
Not doubting what you're telling us, but we've had trouble with
Yes.
the meat processing plants, that's been right there across from the treatment plant several times. We're still having trouble with what they're giving us as far as waste and solids. And, we just can't really handle a bunch of it.
Great, completely understand.
When was your first contact with Madison County regarding this issue, regarding this business?
Well, I guess it would have been through Tory about 2 or 3 months ago, something like that, 2 or 3
No,
months.
well, with-
Madison itself as a municipality, or Madison just looking at properties?
When did Madison, as a municipality, become aware of your interest in this venture?
About,
It's been very recent, right?
yeah, very recent.
Yeah,
about
they
a month.
started this process,
Yeah.
Hamilton found out about the moratorium.
Columbia for a little while, and then Swanee for a little while, and we've looked at sites around, but we've been in contact with the county for, I'd say, a month.
Brian
roughly.
May can speak on that.
Maybe even under that. Please.
It's safe to assume, since y'all aren't yet licensed to do this, that this would be the first facility of its kind that you would be opening and running, correct?
Correct.
And then how many other locations in other counties or whatever are you currently considering?
So we're actually gonna just build one location.
Right, I know that,
So
but
we-
aren't you looking at
Yes,
a
we were
variety
looking,
of
we were
locations?
looking in Swanee County, and then we were talking with Hamilton for a little while, or around Hamilton. We hadn't actually gone to a formal meeting there, but it was found out that there was a moratorium. So now we're looking at this site here and in Swanee County. Those are pretty much the two remaining. Please.
So if your county, Hamilton, doesn't want it, why does Madison County want it?
So they originally actually thought that they just blocked dispensing, but they actually blocked the growing as well, and the manufacturing, which they were unaware of. And at that point, we began conversations with other counties.
I think it comes down to, for the county, it means jobs, economic development, revenue. And so I'm guessing, I can't speak for the county, but I'm guessing that's probably a large reason why they'd like to have it.
And I do not live in Hamilton, by the way, I live in Jacksonville, so, yes, please.
The structure itself, what do you approximate the size of the manufacturing building?
We're gonna start with 15,000, and it just looks like any regular industrial warehouse, general steel type buildings. And then from there, we'll have a footprint that we can actually add on to if need be, and expand the grow and the flower rooms.
Okay, so it's gonna be an indoor controlled environment.
Correct.
Is this gonna be air conditioning, or are you gonna have fans circulating the outside air and the inside air to cool it off?
So it'll be air conditioned, and then inside there's actually oscillating fans to keep air moving. But everything that comes in is filtered, and everything that goes out is filtered as well,
Have you
by state
determined
law.
your electric draw?
Quite a bit, and we've, it's definitely 3-phase. I couldn't give you the exact wattage or ampage right this second. But yes, it is heavily intensive on electricity.
So that's gonna ensure that the residents that live close by aren't gonna have noxious fumes and odors?
Correct, yes. So these activated charcoal filters are very expensive, and they mitigate all odor.
My next question is, the traffic coming in and out, is this gonna be running 24/7, or is this just during the daytime?
No, this will just be during the day, except for the security. It has to be by law 24 hours a day, but it'll be a standard 9 to 5 type shift.
Okay, so there's not gonna be a lot of commercial noises
No,
at night with
No.
diesel engines and tractors and stuff like that?
no, there's no tractors involved. There's just armored vans and just employee parking. That's the extent of the heavy machinery that's going in and out of the facility.
How about the chemical treatment of the product there? What type of chemicals are gonna be used to treat the plants before it's processed?
So there's a approved list from the Department of Health and Agriculture, that has to be approved. It's same for any other, food quality products, tomatoes, anything like that. And then actually the product is tested afterwards from an independent source to make sure there are no contaminants or pesticides remaining in it. I couldn't tell you right now the actual products that we're gonna use in the cultivation. I would have to defer to our growing partners there from Colorado. But, and for the extraction, it's just CO2. So there's nothing hazardous for that matter.
Okay, I was just curious, because I've seen some clandestine labs before, and they use a lot of volatile chemicals.
Correct. Some use butane, some use different hydrocarbons, but no. It's actually not even allowed in the state of Florida to use hydrocarbons. It's yes.
How many employees do you anticipate year one? I know you said by year 3, 40, but what are you anticipating year one?
So year one will be a lot of the building phase, and then the initial hires, I'm gonna just ballpark it and say around 20, as we're just beginning this process.
That would be my question. Are you going to use local,
Yes.
Workers to build this facility?
Yes.
Or, okay.
That's been our goal. Yes, please.
You talk about hooking into the town of Lee's water and sewer. When are you gonna contact the town of Lee and ask them if they have the capability and all to do it? I mean, you're talking about inside the city limits. I'm the mayor of the town of Lee. I talked to my town manager. We found out Friday night on Facebook.
Correct. So we've only been in talking to the county for a matter of weeks now, less than a month, for sure. I apologize
their demands, they don't know
timetable
their
is-
demands or anything.
But I know the distance of the property he was
Correct.
looking at going back is gonna take lift stations, the whole nine. It's a fairly expensive process. You gotta go under the road to get to the sewers. I mean, there's a lot of things involved. You know, it'd be nice if the town of Lee was informed so we could start looking into what it's gonna take to do this.
Well, let me apologize. It certainly was no disrespect meant. We're learning every day what we have to do, and that's just numbers. We just didn't understand.
And this is the option on the property as well, for our,
Yeah, right now they're just trying to get an option to purchase, and then if that goes through, when they start building or designing their plans and their use and, how the usage that they need on your system and have some information to share. Right now, they just need to be able to purchase the property.
I just think at this stage, the town of Lee should have already been in the loop, being it's going within our city limits.
Forgive us. I
apologize, yes, sir.
I think this is a small representation of the county, of how many people's here and how many people's for it or against it. I think we ought to have a vote on it countywide to where people can vote yes or no if they want it in the county. That's number one. And then I'll
There was on the last presidential cycle, a vote that the county participated in statewide, and of Madison County, I believe it was 61% voted yes.
For the use of it, not for the production of it. When they voted, they were under the assumption they were
Correct,
voting
this
for the
is
use
to
of
allow it statewide.
And what was it at the state level?
At the state level, it was 72%, 71.8, I believe.
As I said, that was, the people had to understand it for medical marijuana usage.
Correct.
Not for growing.
But the industry as a whole as well, though. Yes.
Like the mayor said, Lee, the expenditure for the county, would you be willing to foot some of the bill for the lift stations and the sewer to tie into the city of Lee?
Yes, but we were under the impressions that was on us. Yes.
Evidently, I hadn't heard that.
Okay, yeah, and again, I apologize, we haven't been talking to
It's
that
not
long.
in our budget, I can tell you that for sure.
So is that for any development that happens out there?
Yeah, we don't have a budget for that. I mean, we are a very small community, 300 people live there. You can figure our tax base is very, very small. So we struggle every year getting by.
If I could add to that, there are economic development grant incentives to help new businesses come into the area.
It takes
So
time.
that might be an avenue to help with that, if it's a big problem.
Thank you. Yes, we actually decided not to take them and then pay for the sewer, water, things like that. I believe that's how it was offered to us for maybe a discount on the property, but we decided that I think it would be better just to pay the full asking price for the property that's out there.
You know, do you have an estimate on your development costs just yet, as
far as what you think this might cost to?
Yes. The original was just the beginning cultivation is 4. It's 4 million roughly for the cultivation site, the initial one.
And
that
Crawford, do you know, isn't it 7 times the multiplication factor in a community our size as far as the development costs? Isn't that something, am I wrong on that?
Talking about for the economic
Yeah.
multiplier impact?
Yeah.
It's probably pretty close to that, yes.
$28 million impact to the community.
Yes.
For a $4 million investment.
as well as the jobs created as well.
But if your application is not accepted, this is all for nil, am I correct?
Correct.
That's number one.
Yes.
And number two is, if in fact you are awarded a agreement, you stated you were talking to Swanee, I believe, in Madison County, or what's going on there? Where are you going with it?
Once we have this option secured, we're committed to Madison.
Okay.
They have not done this process with Swanee at all.
Well, you know, he mentioned it,
Yeah.
so
You can't tell by my nerves.
They haven't done this process with Swanee at all.
Well, like I said, I don't want to be held, this community should be held hostage from one to the other, you know, if they.
No, they haven't even made it this far with Swanee.
Correct.
By their choice, not by.
Well, yes.
Just whenever you decide, or whenever you talk with Lee about the water and sewer, be sure to include the city of Madison in that too, because that's where the sewer is gonna end up at, is with the city of Madison.
Yes, sir. Does the council have any questions? I know we've been turned that way, I apologize.
If I might ask you, I know the product's gonna be taken out in armored vehicles. What size containers are we talking about going out from, and are we talking about vials, or are we talking about in half-gallon containers?
No, so they'll be ready to dispense in individual 500 milligram cartridges, which are not long, and same with any of the oils, but no, it wouldn't be a full transfer like that.
And do you have any idea right now where a majority of the distribution will be going to, say, Southwest Florida, or what part of Florida might be going to?
It'll be most of the northeast of Jacksonville, Ocala, Gainesville, Tallahassee. Those are kind of, that's why we like this region. So a lot of these companies have gone to South Florida, and that's kind of their target. And that market's already getting just a lot of pressure down there from the different MMTC licenses out there.
So you see you're basically northeast Florida as far west as Tallahassee?
We could go all the way to Pensacola and beyond, and eventually be in South Florida. But I think for the initial, as this is such a new process to the state, of roughly a year with not with just the low THC, that it is so new that we're still learning the market as well.
Sure.
But you're not anticipating putting a retail store
No.
out?
No, we're not looking to retail or dispense in that. Just manufacture and create the jobs, and then move the product to the other cities that we mentioned.
What is the crime rate like in other facilities like this?
So this is so highly regulated, I anticipate there to be none. Every square inch of this facility pretty much has a camera on it. The state comes in and actually goes through your tracking metric to make sure nothing has disappeared. Everything is weighed, everything is processed. There's no ingress or egress without going through our guard gate, to only the employees in the state, of course. Showing their ID, going in,